I call him King of AngelList. Gil Penchina, with a round of applause, please. Büyük bir alkış alalım.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I think you couldn't really understand what we were talking about.
I heard all of it. I understood none of it.
Oh, okay, cool. So like the point was they're both really active investors in Turkey, and like we were talking about getting more global investors into Turkish startups, and also like talking about the exit strategies. And now you're here, and you are running like over, I think, 20 different crowdfunds now.
Yeah.
Do you want? I think you better tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, especially on AngelList, and like your personal syndicate on AngelList. I think you have over $6 million fund backing or something. Yep. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about it. So if they don't know you, they're gonna learn.
Sure. So hi, I'm Gil. I was an early employee at eBay, and I was actually here in Istanbul in 2006 talking to the Gidiyor guys. I made a mistake not investing in them. Wow. They did quite well. In fact, Tolga was just texting me a few minutes ago, one of the guys there. After eBay, I ran a spin-off of Wikipedia called Wikia, and then started a few other companies. But in my spare time, many people in Silicon Valley want to become angel investors. It's sort of a cool way to learn. It's a cool way to meet people. If you talk to many angel investors, they're not actually focused mainly on profit like the VCs are. They're focused on learning and networking as well as some profit. And so I was an angel investor in PayPal and LinkedIn and AngelList and Indiegogo and many other companies, about 100 companies now. And about 2 years ago, AngelList created this product called syndicates. And a syndicate is basically a way you can find someone you trust and invest with them. Right now, the minimum is $1,000, so about 2,800 Turkish lira. Someday, I hope it will be, $50 or $1. The idea being that anyone and everyone should be able to invest in companies that they believe in or know something about. And through the syndicate, a group of us come together and invest in a startup. So we have now 3,000 angels, some in Turkey, many in Western Europe, US, Asia, who all come together to invest in startups. And like as a great example, I was meeting this afternoon with the guys from Scorp, and one of their users has done over 2,000 videos in the last 6 months that he's posted. And I bet if you gave him a chance to invest 100 lira in Scorp, he probably would. Right? He understands the product better than everyone else in the room.
Exactly.
So what I like about AngelList is it lets all of us come together to invest in something that we believe in. And it's not just Turkey.
Currently, AngelList, I think, only works for US companies and I think UK companies as well. And you have around like 20 different crowdfunds running there, syndicates, let's say. Yeah. And do you have any syndicate for UK companies?
Yeah, so we launched Flight VC UK, we launched Germany, Israel, Canada. So you can actually do many countries in AngelList. It's a strange part of the global financial service laws. I'm sure it's probably true that AngelList cannot let a Turkish citizen invest in a Turkish company, but they can let 1,000 US citizens invest in a Turkish company.
I'm an investor actually.
So you can invest in a US company.
Yeah, but if there was like a Turkish company, the only thing is, I think, that company must be based in, the company should be formed
Corp.
in US Corp. That's the thing, I guess.
I don't know if that's true. I invested in a French company last month on AngelList.
But was it like
French
online?
company? Like, it's a French company when you have to initial 400 pages of documents to invest $200,000.
So was it like an online investment or like a manual one?
Yeah, no, lots of paper. I had to sign lots of paper, but the web investors invested electronically. Oh, but as the syndicate lead, I had to sign every page of.
So maybe it's possible to do like a syndicate for a Turkish startup. Why not?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm talking to one right now. So.
Yeah, cool. You're talking to one. Yeah, I introduced you them.
You did. You did.
So I'll get another like 10%
You'll get a commission,
I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Just kidding. So I mean, what do you think? What's the future of this crowdfunding? I don't want to call it hype, but like this trends, let's say, because a couple of days ago there was like a discussion. I saw that Jason Calacanis just tweeted something, and there was a discussion like comparing this with like regular, normal, classical VC industry and doing this like deal by deal things, so like investments. So what do you think about the future of this? Do you think it's gonna go longer, or at one point things will change? Like for example, I think it was last week, I guess, Chinese investment group invested, I think, $400 million or something to AngelList, and some of that funding will go to the syndicates. Probably you will be one of those syndicates, actually.
It's all going to syndicates.
Yeah.
400 million allocated to syndicates.
Is it all of them? Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the future of this?
So to me, the trend started actually with a company called Prosper about 5-6 years ago in the US, and then Lending Club, where they are disaggregating the banks. They're taking apart the banks and saying, do you really need a bank for one person to lend money to another person? And Lending Club and Prosper are now doing billions of dollars of loans without a bank. And then Indiegogo came and said, why do you need a VC-like investor to start a movie? You should be able to crowdfund your movie. And so now musicians and artists are crowdfunding movies and music and books and art on Indiegogo, and then Kickstarter lets you crowdfund your hardware. We invested in a suitcase company that raised $2 million on Indiegogo before they built a suitcase. They showed the pictures and the designs, and they raised $2 million cash to go build this suitcase for people. So the crowd is now, I think what's changed is electronic payments have gotten easy, and the internet has gotten very big, and mobile has made it very easy for you to do these things sort of in your spare time. And that combination is allowing money to get from people to the right company or the right creator or the right entrepreneur much more efficiently than it could 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, if you wanted to get money for your business, the only choice you had was a bank. Now you have many choices.
Exactly.
Right? So whether it's a business or a movie or a startup, we're really, all of these businesses are really just enabling direct connections between people who have money and people who need money without the banks and the financiers in the middle. So my argument is in 5 years, no one will start a VC firm. There will be no new VC firms because
it's a good call.
Why would you? Right? You can go on AngelList. I mean, I talked to a friend, he raised money for his VC firm. It took a year. He took 700 meetings. He flew all over the world. I started a VC firm in 5 minutes by clicking a button on AngelList, and we deployed $20 million the first year without any accountants or any lawyers or any fundraising meetings. It's a different world.
Wow. It's a good title for a good article, actually. So you're saying that all VCs will be self-employed. I mean, like most of them are self-employed anyway, but like they'll be just on their own, not a part of like a firm, or there will be I don't know, something like flight VC, because like you have flight
or like
VC.
a firm of individuals.
Yeah.
Not entirely. I think there are still very large firms that have the resources. Like I'll give you a great example. There are lots of cool startups here today, but IBM is not gone. Right? IBM is still IBM. So I'm not saying all VC firms will be gone in 5 years. I'm saying no one will start a new one in 5 years because it is so much easier to start a new one on AngelList, and then it'll grow, and in 10 or 20 or 50 years, maybe the old VC firms will become much weaker.
So there are actually different forms of AngelList type of companies. Like there's another one, not the same model, but called Equity Zen. So what they are doing is they are selling some private shares from the, common shares
Liquidity.
from the equity. Yeah. So those are different models. But I think all of these companies are just getting traction now because like it's sexy, isn't it? Like getting some shares from Palantir always like makes people feel like, okay, let's do that. How much? $20,000. That's all right.
Okay,
At
sure.
least I'm an investor at Palantir.
Right.
So you don't care about if it's a couple of $1 billion. I used to just do that, don't you? I mean, I would do that anyway. So
There is some of that. I mean, there is much more liquidity in Silicon Valley than there was even 2 years ago. I think we're sort of hitting a peak where every large startup thinks they can employees can sell stock to get some cash. And you're right. I mean, if I go back to my statement that not all angel investors in Silicon Valley are entirely focused on money, it's kind of cool to build a collection and say, oh, look, I have stock in Dropbox and Airbnb, and you know, I can buy $5,000 worth, and it's cool. But you can also look at it and say, you know, I bought stock in Webvan because I got my groceries delivered to me, and it was super cool. And Webvan was publicly traded, so I spent $25,000 on the U.S. regulated stock market buying shares of Webvan, and a year later, when I sold them, my broker charged $9 for a trade, and my broker called me and said, we feel very bad when your trade results in less money than our $9 brokerage fee. So I sold my $25,000 worth of Webvan for $7 a year later. So even on the public markets, like, you just never know where a company's going to be worth. But I think there is this vanity collection of, like, it's like badges I want to have like on my jacket.
I remember you were a speaker at Tech Crisis Shop San Francisco last year, and you had, like, I don't know, 10 different T-shirts, and you were changing them all the time.
Yeah, I did my first striptease on stage. I was taking off.
You can find that
T-shirt.
video, actually. He had, like, I think, over 10 something T-shirts, and he was doing, like, this striptease. So, has anyone ever experienced an exit from one of AngelList syndicates until now? I think no. So no one knows what will happen if there's an exit.
Yep, it's all on paper. I mean, the first syndicates were done almost exactly 2 years ago. And if you look at the average timeline to an IPO, it's about 8 years now in the US. It's more in Europe. I wouldn't be surprised if there's been an exit where someone got $2 for every dollar they put in, or $1.50, or 10 cents. But it is very early in the world of venture capital. We tend to measure it now in terms of paper profit. So, you know, a company, BP, which we invested in, did a new round at 3 times the valuation we invested in 10 months ago. So we have on paper $3 for every dollar we put in, but it's on paper. So one of the things I've been talking to the AngelList guys about is, in this new round at BP at $3, we raised another $2.5 million. And there was more money that would have bought stock. So what if you would allow the people who bought at $1 to sell to new people at $3? And so I don't know for a fact that AngelList will do this, but I believe they will create this sort of liquidity where over time you as an individual can sell to another individual, and there will be a liquid market and sort of public prices for every stock that is early stage.
How do you see the opportunity in Europe, actually? In Europe or MENA or, I don't know, other regions, non-US, let's say? Because a couple of days ago, I think it was Fred Wilson, I'm not sure, he wrote a blog post and said, like, nearly 50% of the investments from Union Square Ventures was to non-US companies. Actually, he said, I think, to Europe. So what is, like, the what is it like in your own portfolio? And, or I can ask in this way, is it really attractive for you investing in Europe or MENA region, or do you still prefer to stay in US? I know you said that you have this French company you invest in, but, like, is it in your radar?
Absolutely. I mean, we did Happen in France, which is really a global company. It just happens to be based in Paris. We did Nutmeg in the UK, which is really a UK-only company.
Nutmeg is nice, I don't know.
Right, very nice, but, you know, financial services, it's hard to go to too many countries. We did Newswhip in Ireland.
I'm one of the investors there.
There you go. So you picked a good one. You know, we've looked at other countries. We'll be doing some in Germany in the next year, I'm sure. And I'm here in Turkey, so I hope to do some here as well. And I think, you know, ultimately, you know, EU has a bigger GDP than the US. I mean, there should be more big technology companies in Europe than there are. I don't know why it's proven so hard. I mean, I think the European culture, the Western European culture is more risk averse. So it's harder for founders to raise money. Some countries like France, the bankruptcy laws are really very bad.
Yeah.
So there are structural issues that governments need to work on to make it easier to be an entrepreneur and to fail. And I think it's hard for government politicians to understand that failure is a good thing. Because in politics, if you fail, you are a failure for life. Whereas in entrepreneurship, if you are a failure, you've learned something and we like you more.
Yeah. Yeah. So, by the way, did you have a chance to visit our startup launch here?
I have not.
Yeah. So, we're going to have a break now, so we can
Good time to
go
go.
there together. So we can just walk there and
be
maybe you can find your first Turkish investment there. Let's
Awesome.
see. Thanks for coming, Joe.
Thank you.
It was great
Nice to meet
talking to you.
everyone.